College list, setting some criteria for choosing universities in the United States. Having hundreds of options with respect to college education in the United States may sound great for many international students. However, choosing the best match schools for college applications is a challenging procedure. Being unfamiliar with the overall educational, social, and cultural systems of another country makes application procedures more complicated and creates stress for students and parents. Narrowing down the college lists for application procedures is essential, and with an appropriate approach, students can receive acceptance letters from the best possible colleges that match with their profiles and expectations. With carefully filtered college lists, students also save a lot of money by receiving need or merit-based scholarships. There are over 4,000 higher education institutions in the United States, and the majority of these institutions offer a high quality of education for their students. For many students, narrowing down the names of schools is a challenge since they usually do not have valid and reliable criteria. The schools' reputations may be convincing, however, those schools with the greatest reputations have competitive acceptance rates, and they may not be suitable for everyone. A student should set some criteria, and those criteria should align with the student's academic background and financial conditions, as well as his/her future plans and expectations. Although a majority of the colleges offer a very high quality of education, we always prioritize the college rankings set by independent organizations like US News and World Report or Times Higher Education. Those institutions set similar criteria while they analyze and rank the schools. Such criteria include several factors, and those rankings are extremely helpful for good brainstorming to finish an effective decision process. We always use the US News and World Report rankings for national universities and for specific programs for our students. They rank almost 400 universities in the United States and share some brief information about those schools. Princeton and Harvard universities are usually occupying the first two places, and their names switch often without either school leaving these top two positions. Top 10 national universities usually include Yale, Stanford, MIT, UPenn, University of Chicago, Columbia, Duke and Caltech. After evaluating the rankings, we always check out the previous year's SAT or ACT averages, which are usually around 1,500–1,600 for the top 10 schools in the United States. For graduate school applications, we search for the GRE or GMAT score averages if the specific program requires one of them. Although the schools do not require a minimum score for any programs, there are unwritten rules about the test scores. For instance, if your SAT score is 1,000 or 1,600, you will never receive an acceptance letter from Princeton University. If your GRE score is not placing you in the top 5% among the test takers, you most probably will not receive acceptance from any graduate schools at Harvard University. You can also check out the average GPA of accepted students for those schools. Tuition and fees are other criteria for creating the college list. However, without a complete application, you never know how much scholarship support you will get. Of course, an impressive application package may bring you extra money. You may search the most generous colleges online. The tuition rates can sound scary, especially for the colleges in northern states. For instance, Harvard University's tuition is around $55,000. However, you should know that if they accept you and if you really cannot afford this amount, you will pay nothing. One of the other most important criteria to create the college list for applications is the location criteria. People may not recognize the importance of location while compiling their list of schools. However, students should always remember that they will spend years in a specific geography, climate, and culture. There are different types of cities in the United States, and students should prioritize many location-related factors, including but not limited to security, transportation, weather, culture, and social life. If you do not like the cold weather, I do not recommend northern states. If you prefer cosmopolitan cities, colleges near New York City should be added in your final list. Our personal recommendation for location criteria for any type of activity including college education will be California and Florida. Incredible weather and beautiful beaches attract people more than snowy winters and rainy springs. We can list the personal preferences criteria as the last factor to be considered when people create their college list. Many parents and students must consider the easiest and smoothest transition to college, and such comfort can be obtained with some personal connections. For instance, a student who has a relative who can provide room and board might prefer only a couple of schools close to this relative's address, since he will save a lot of money that would otherwise be spent on rent and many other expenses. This relative may also provide good guidance overall about the social and cultural life of the region and guidance on adapting to the new environment. The college lists for applications are extremely important, and I always recommend consulting with an expert for the best possible brainstorming. Establishing some criteria will be extremely helpful. Although the school numbers for applications can change from person to person, I recommend applying to at least 10 schools, including identified best matched schools and safe schools. Our record for the highest number of college applications was 35, and this student received 34 acceptance letters.